Factorizing quadratic function. A quadratic function is a polynomial function with 2 degrees. A degree is the highest exponent or power or index in the polynomial. The general equation of a quadratic function is ax exponent 2 plus bx exponent 1 plus cx exponent 0. X exponent 1 is equal to x and x exponent 0 equals 1. Anything to power of 0 is 1. Therefore, to write this general equation properly, it will be ax squared plus bx plus c. Because it has degree of 2, that means it has 2 factors. One factor is written with the open and closed bracket, and the other factor is written with open and closed bracket. Each factors will give us a root, and let's call that root alpha and beta. So when we sketch a quadratic function with 2 roots, there is the root alpha, and beta is where it crosses the x-axis. So our first example is to factorize x squared plus 8x plus 7. First thing we need to do is to find AC. AC is A is 1, B is 8, and C is 7 from the question. AC means A times C, 1 times 7. 1 times 7 is 7. We need 2 numbers that we can multiply together to get 7 and add together to get 8. That looks like 1 and 7. Always start with 1. So 1 and 7 goes to the top boxes, and 1 and 7 goes to the bottom boxes numerator. Now, in the bottom boxes, what we need to do is divide the numerator by 1 to get the denominator by A. A is 1, so we divide it by 1, 1, because we're dividing it by A. Now to finish our factors now, in the bottom boxes, the top, the numerator is the constant and the bottom is the x. So the bottom here gives us 1x and the top gives us plus 1 constant. So the top is the constant, the numerator is the constant, and the denominator is the x. Let's try the second part. The bottom, the denominator is 1x, and the top is plus 7. So those are our factors. But remember, oh yeah, B was 8. But remember, our factors are 1x is equal to x, and therefore x plus 1, x plus 7. In order to justify this answer, we need to expand it to see whether we get back to the original equation. So we do x plus 1, x plus 7. We're trying to expand this now. So we try x times x. That will give us x squared. X times 7. That will give us 7x. 1 times x is 1x. 1 times 7 is 7. So if we then write it out, we're going to get x squared plus 7x plus 1x plus 7. So that will give us x squared plus 8x plus 7. So that's correct. Yes, the factors are x plus 1, x plus 7. Example number 2. We're trying to solve or factorize x squared minus 6x plus 9. A equals 1 again, B is minus 6, and C is 9. We need to find AC. We need to find A times C. A times C is 1 times 9, so AC equals 1 times 9, and that gives us 9. We need two numbers we can multiply together to get 9, and when we add them together, we get minus 6. Always start with 1, 1 and 9. 1 times 9 is 9, 1 plus 9 is 10, so it's not good. Well, we know 1 and 9 doesn't work, so let's try 3. We couldn't try 2 because 2 doesn't go in 9, so we go for 3. So 3 and 3. 3 and 3. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 plus 3 is 6. But AC should be 9 and B is minus 6. So we want minus 6. So right, if we try minus 3, that would do it. Minus 3 times minus 3 is 9. Minus 3 plus minus 3 is minus 6. So in our boxes we put minus 3, and in the bottom box we put minus 3. Now we need to do one more thing. We need to divide the bottom box by A, and A is 1. So we divide it by 1, we divide it by 1. Now the denominator of the bottom box is our x value, so that will give us our 1x. And the numerator of the bottom box is our constant, so that will be minus 3. So that's our factor, 1x minus 3. And for the right hand side, the bottom box, the denominator is 1x, and the top box, the numerator is minus 3. So that's our second factor. But remember, 1x is x. Therefore, our factors are 1x minus 3, 1x minus 3. In order to justify the answer, we need to multiply or expand them out, the brackets, and see if we get back the right answer. So x minus 3, So x times x is x squared. X times minus 3 is minus 3x. Minus 3 times x is minus 3x. Minus 3 times minus 3 is plus 9. So that will give us x squared minus 6x plus 9. So that gives us the equation back, and therefore our factors are x minus 3, x minus 3. Now let's do the third example. X squared minus 5x minus 6, where A is 1, B is minus 5, and C is minus 6. We need to find AC. AC is 1 times minus 6, and that gives us minus 6. We need two numbers that we can multiply together to get minus 6, and two numbers that we can add together to get minus 5. Always start with 1 and 6. So we're looking for 1 times 6 is 6. 1 plus 6 is 7. So that wouldn't do. What about 1 and minus 6? 1 times minus 6 is minus 6. 1 plus minus 6 is minus 5. So that means our AC is minus 6 and our B equals minus 5. So that's good. So we need to put those two numbers, which is 1 and 6, minus 6, into the top box and the bottom box. So I'm going to have 1 and minus 6. 1 and minus 6. Now we need to divide the bottom box to get a denominator for the bottom box by a, and a is 1. Now we need to write our factors out. In the bottom boxes, the numerator is the constant and the denominator is your x value. So the denominator gives 1x and the numerator gives plus 1. Open close bracket. The next one, the denominator is 1x and the numerator is minus 6, open and close bracket. 1x is also x, and therefore x plus 1, x minus 6 are our factors. We need to justify that to when we expand it to make sure that it gets back to the original equation. So x plus 1, x minus 6. Expanding that would be x times x, that would be x squared. X times 6, that would be minus 6, sorry, that would be minus 6x. 1 times x, that would be 1x. 1 times minus 6 will be minus 6. So let's add them together. X squared minus 6x plus 1x minus 6. And that will give us x squared minus 5x minus 6. So we go back our original equation. Therefore, our factors are x plus 1, x minus 6.